But my beats, they are hard.
All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. Drew here, trying to put a bow on the end of another great weekend of HBCU Sports. Going to try to look ahead at what's to come as our favorite season is about to begin on Monday. Basketball season begins on Monday. So really excited about tonight's show. Got a little bit of football talk, got a little bit of basketball talk for the first time this year. Got some other stuff that we think you'll like. Drew, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. That extra hour that we got last night did a brother some good, man. So I had so much stuff, and I actually woke up and wasn't drowsy today. I ran to the grocery store this morning before Dr. Cavill's show, and I'm rushing back thinking that I had to hurry up and get back so we can do Dr. Cavill's show. And I looked down at my watch, and it's only 8:00. Like, and I'm on the phone. I'm like, "What time is it?" It was like, "Oh yeah, time went back because the clock in the car and clock on my wrist was wrong." So I was like, "Oh, I am so happy that I had this extra hour. Now I can actually sit down and enjoy my breakfast before I hop on Doc's show instead of having to scarf it down."
First world problems. I don't know if I'm not going to get into one of those debates that people like to have. Oh, we should never have daylight savings time and the time should never change. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care, honestly. I mean, yeah. I think it all washes out, honestly, because our phones 9 times out of 10 adjust. So I don't know. Do you have a care in the world about fall back, spring forward, that whole thing?
I mean, it doesn't bother me. Obviously, this is one of the hardest weeks that you have to deal with because of getting used to the new time. But when it's all said and done, who wants to be leaving to go to work in the dark? And depending on what part of the country you live in, that's exactly what will happen. School kids out. Not only are they waiting on the bus stop in the dark, but when they get to school, it's still dark. So, it's depressing when you're in the dark all the time, just to be honest with you. So,
I grew up in the Midwest. Where, you just have to deal with being depressed for 4 or 5 months, actually 5 months.
Yeah, that's because of the snow. That's a different type of depression.
It's the cloud cover. Yeah. It's the cloud cover, the snow, the cold winter. Yeah.
You act like I didn't grow up 4 hours west of you.
Exactly. Exactly. I guess moving to Florida changed my whole perspective. I don't care. Fall back, spring forward. I'm still gonna get, doesn't matter. It's all good. So anyway, no daylight savings times debates here. So look, coming up at the bottom of hour one, I told you we're going to talk some basketball early, and I can think of no better person than a friend of the network, a friend of the show, Live for Hoops, Liv Antilla. is going to join the show. You know, she's a HBCU hoops reporter. You know, she's writing now. You know, Liv has been doing the online videos, and now she's doing some writing with HBCU Game Day. She might be some other places, but I know that's where I've seen her work. But really, really excited to see how this young lady has really grown in this space over the last, I think this is year 3 now. So in the last 2 to 3 years, to see Liv kind of grow and really provide people with somebody in the marketplace whose sole purpose of content is HBCU basketball. It's welcome, because so many of us spend a lot of time talking about multiple sports or really heavy into football. It's really good having Liv in this space. So she's coming up at the bottom of hour 1. All right, Drew, I got to get it out the way because this is our show. And, you know, I'm gonna first start by saying congratulations, Jackson State fans. You know, I know all the folks in the chat room, you know, they come rushing in to see, you know, if I'm going to be petty or I'm going to be this and that. Shout out to everybody watching and joining the show on Twitter and on Instagram Live, as well as Facebook and on YouTube. But yeah, I got to congratulate Jackson State. Came to Bragg Stadium last night, represented, you know, good crowd, good contingent of Jackson State folks showed up, you know, with the pom-poms and everything, you know. It's awesome to see that pom-poms are still alive. And the Sonic Boom of the South came. So, you know, they came, provided a great halftime show, I thought. Fifth quarter was interesting, very debatable about who won. You know, I'm not going to get into it here on the show. You know, I was actually looking for somebody who could provide an unbiased review of the fifth quarter. Because, you know, people will tell me I'm biased. Maybe I am. You know, but, you know, wins and losses, what are we judging wins and losses on when we get to the fifth quarter? So, but anyway, I know what tipped it over the edge for me. Maybe it didn't tip it over the edge for somebody else. But anyway, all that said, it was a good performance. Good job, Jackson State folks. Hope you enjoyed it. You know, FAMU and the Rattlers, I mean, look, I'm just going to have to say it, man. This pains me to say it. Right now, you know, they got our number, Drew. They own the series history right now. And, you know, of the last, 5 meetings or 6 meetings, they've won 5 of the last 6 or 4 of the last 5, something like that. So yeah, you know, include, you know, so it's one of those tough things, man. It's one of those tough things. We're just in that funk of having to get over it. And fortunately, though, Drew, I can say Jackson State is not our rival. So I can say your coaching career won't be determined based on you know, how you do against Jackson State, since you're not our rival. You know, they said it first. They said it first. They said we are not your rival. So okay. Well, okay. Anyway, but I guess that's part of being the SWAC. Everybody has a daddy, you know. Grambling State, you know, for y'all who want to say that Grambling State is our daddy. Well, Jackson State, y'all got a daddy, and his name is Grambling. So there we go. So everybody's got somebody that owns them. So there you go. I don't know what I admitted there, Israel. So there it is. I don't know what I admitted, but anyway, it was a good job. You know what is kind of bad, and I'll tell you the tough part about that game last night was, you know, it was for Florida A&M. It was the 3rd loss where the opponent scored over 40 points in Bragg. And that's alarming. That's troubling. I haven't done the complete research, but as I was talking with some folks after the game, I don't even think in the darkest valley of years where Florida A&M's coaching was less than the standard, I don't think those coaches lost to three opponents by 40 points or more. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. That's what's happened this year. So not a good look. Not a great look for the Rattlers, but I'm one of those people that still thinks, there might be a silver lining. 4 games left in conference play, and we'll see what happens. And for Jackson State, they control their destiny. Although I am kind of interested to see what happens when Bethune-Cookman comes to town. I don't know if Bethune-Cookman can stop water out the faucet, but I know in terms of that offense is legit. They have put up over 30 points in every game since their opening game. Every game since the opening game, they have put up points over 30. Alabama State almost lost their streak of putting up over 30. Almost came to an end, but it didn't. As they got a 31-28 victory. Let me go through some of those quick numbers here to kind of look and see where we're at. Here we go. Scores from yesterday in the SWAC. Alabama State 31-28 over Prairie View. They got down 14-0, 14-0, 21-7, I think it was early. And then Alabama State 31-28. Now, of course, the big story coming out of that game, the injury status of Andrew Body. The redshirt junior left the contest with 5:50 remaining in the second quarter after scoring his second rushing touchdown of the game. He went to the medical tent on the sideline to be examined. He was later spotted on the sideline in street clothes, wearing a sling on his right arm. Deshaun Smoot, the backup quarterback, ended up finishing the game. Immediately after the game, reading the quote here from HBCUSports.com, Coach Eddie Robinson said, "We don't know the extent of the injury. Hopefully he will be back this year, but very proud of the guys regardless, and a lot of respect for Prairie View for the way they finished." Body was 5 of 7 passing for 79 yards, 5 rushes for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns prior to the injury, or as the injury happened. And of course, if you missed the game, Prairie View had an opportunity to tie the game, send it to possibly overtime with 31 seconds left, a 53-yard field goal attempt. I thought it was closer to 53, but it was 53 apparently. Went left. I don't know if it really had a shot in terms of the length on the field goal, but Prairie View ends up losing 31-28. Drew, any instant reaction to those first 2 probably feature games that I just talked about?
Well, the big thing, Brian, is once again, Eddie Robinson coach team has an issue at quarterback, Brian. And then, of course, Florida A&M with Jackson State issues at quarterback. These issues are not due to lack of performance. These issues are due to the health of the quarterbacks. And then, Brian, just for kicks and grin, let's throw Grambling State into that same mix. A Grambling State team who all of a sudden is getting hot at the right time, but we've got the issues at the quarterback position. So 3 very capable quarterbacks, 2 of them in the race before their injury for Conference Player of the Year, Brian. That's the scary thing about it. So, despite the loss, and I know we haven't really touched on this Prairie View game too tough. Is Prairie View still potentially the best representative for the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl, Brian? Considering they are the healthiest team, or does this open up the window for all score no D Bethune Cookman to get into the Celebration Bowl? Because while we're playing, Brian, Bethune Cookman, Alabama State, and Jackson State are tied atop of the SWAC East, with all three of them having a trap game this week. Let's put that out there first.
I heard you say that.
But next week, Jackson State Bethune will go a long way in determining what happens in the SWAC East. Obviously, a Bethune win gives Alabama State the front seat in the SWAC, because that will put them one game up on Jackson State, and they have the head-to-head tiebreaker with Bethune. A Jackson State win leaves Jackson State in the front seat no matter what Alabama State does. So it's going to be interesting.
Let me give you look at this is the remaining schedule for Jackson State, Alabama State, Bethune Cookman. As you said, all three teams are sitting 4-1. And you tell me who has the hardest road. Okay. Bethune Cookman, this week at Grambling State, at Jackson State, neutral site, rival game against Florida A&M. Jackson State, remaining schedule, at Mississippi Valley State, home against Bethune-Cookman, home against Alcorn State. And then for Alabama State, they've got home Texas Southern, neutral site versus Mississippi Valley State, and then home against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Who was that last schedule?
Alabama State.
I mean, Alabama State obviously has.
So Alabama State has two home games and one neutral site. Yeah, Alabama State has two home games and one neutral site. Jackson State has two home games and a road game. Bethune-Cookman, two road games and a neutral.
Alabama State has the easiest of the three.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree.
With probably Bethune having the toughest of the three.
Yeah. But the team that controls their destiny is actually only Jackson State. And what I mean by that, if they win out, that means they would have defeated and given Bethune-Cookman their second conference loss.
Which will eliminate them. Essentially,
and they have the tiebreaker. Right. And they have the tiebreaker over Alabama State.
Actually, if my math is right, the lost victory over Bethune will eliminate Bethune because of it being their second loss and the fact that they have the tiebreaker.
Wait a minute, say that again.
A Jackson State victory over Bethune-Cookman, assuming both teams win this weekend, will eliminate Bethune-Cookman because they will have the head-to-head, which is the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And they will have a one-game lead, which essentially a two-game lead with one game to go for Bethune.
Right. Well, yeah, but Jackson State keeps winning and they're in. I mean, win and
Yes.
in, and that's what I was getting at. No, they control their own destiny. No ifs, ands, or buts. No extras. All they got to do is win. But like you said, I'm gonna tell you now. If you look at Grambling, it took a I think it was a punt return touchdown in the last 7 or 6 minutes of the ball game in the fourth quarter for them to overcome a 10-6 deficit against Alabama A&M in the fourth quarter. That's how they ended up winning. I don't know. I think we have to wait and see what Alabama State's backup quarterback situation is like. But I will tell you, Drew, I think Jackson State is in good hands with the young man who quarterbacked that team last night, true freshman. Because the biggest advantage that a freshman quarterback has is he doesn't have to win the game. He really doesn't, because he has, well, what? The best rushing offense, second best in the nation, and he's got a defense that is pretty doggone good. So, you know, he doesn't have to win the game. He just doesn't have to lose it, I guess, if you want to go that route. You know, so I fully expect Jackson State to run. I mean, they ran the ball 53 times last night. I expect that to be the recipe for every game going forward to the end. You're just going to get a dose of everything that they're dishing out off the ground. And good luck stopping it. So, yeah. So there we go. Interesting, you know, as you saw over in the West, Grambling State is a game. I'm just looking at the standings here. Grambling State is a game behind Prairie View right now. And, of course, you know, actually, should Prairie View stumble again, you know, right now Prairie View has all the tiebreakers, Drew, because they have the victory over Grambling State. They have a victory over Texas Southern. So even though they have a 1-game lead over both of those two schools, in reality, they have a 2-game lead. You know, they got a 2-game lead with 3 games to play. I mean, Prairie View's going to the SWAC championship game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could epically collapse down the stretch. Anything's possible. They play at Alabama A&M, host Arkansas Pine Bluff, host Mississippi Valley State. I don't see them stumbling in all 3 of those games, which is what would have to happen to open the door. So, in essence, this weekend at Alabama A&M, they could be celebrating a trip to the SWAC championship game. You know? And I guess the one thing that hurt that in that loss to Alabama State is they probably lost the advantage to host. Does that seem right? Like Prairie View would have lost the right to host?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they obviously with their head-to-head against Alabama State would host should they win out. And then if Jackson State is the victor, common opponent between the two schools, between Prairie View and Jackson State, is Alabama State. And you always go with the highest finishing common opponent. Jackson State defeated Alabama State. Prairie View lost to Alabama State. That's going to be that tiebreaker. So right now, Jackson State has the advantage on hosting also.
Okay. Well, we'll get into talking about what's upcoming more in, I guess, what week are we in? Week 10? Jesus, I'm starting to lose count. Heading into week 10. I think we're heading into week 10. Yeah, heading into week 10. We'll talk about next Saturday's schedule in the SWAC, kind of run back and do a recap from the MEAC as well. You know, if y'all thought the Florida A&M loss was bad, there was another HBCU which took a beating that was even worse in conference play. I mean, like really, really bad. So we'll talk about that. Even on the Division II side, we got some interesting scenarios. One team punched their ticket to a championship game and host that championship game. So we'll talk about all that in hour 2. But coming up at the bottom of the hour, basketball season is less than, I don't know, Drew, I think it's about 14 hours away. 14 hours away from the start of basketball. They're actually, you know, Drew, there's some basketball games that are actually starting at like 8 in the morning, I was told. On
wow.
Monday. Yeah, I mean, we got some HBCUs that are playing as early as 11 in the morning tomorrow. So no better person to talk to than Liv for Hoops on the other side. So let's get ready to take this first break. Come back on the other side, talk to Liv, get a little hoops action, figure out what's going to be the best plays on day one, and see if she sees any upsets on the first 24 to 48 hours of the basketball season. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. A.D. Drew, Bryan Fulford. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
All right, welcome back to BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan Fulford, A.D. Drew, and look who's joining us. Friend of the program, a Rattler at heart, none other than a Hall of Famer, by the way. Liv and Chilla. Liv for Hoops. Liv, what's good? Welcome back to the show. How you doing tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
Hey, you doing well. Doing well, Liv. Doing well. Liv, are you ready? It's basketball season. Are you excited?
I've been waiting for football season to be over so basketball could be here. And everyone's been telling me to chill out. But I'm really excited, to be honest, with a lot of the rosters on paper. So, like, a lot of things are obviously up to how coaches execute, how players execute. But on paper, a lot of teams are looking so strong this season. And so I've been ready for the basketball season to start.
And there are a lot of other people out here who are football fans who've been ready for basketball season start since about the second week of October.
Hey, people could say FAMU is one of them. So
I see you said that, not me.
Okay, so let's kind of go through some of the off-season stuff for anybody who's kind of been in a cave or in a football slumber and you really haven't been paying attention to basketball, what has been maybe the one or two, or I don't know, few interesting storylines from the off season regarding our HBCUs and the various women or men's basketball programs that you've been able to grab a hold of?
Yeah, I think the SWAC men have the most storylines out of all of the Division I conference, like the two Division I conferences and teams, simply because there was so much interconference transition and things that went on behind the scenes that are causing for great storylines. So, of course, we have Coach Crary departed FAMU, took the Grambling job, and the Grambling job opened up because Dante Jackson left Grambling to go to Alabama A&M. The previous coach at Alabama A&M is on staff as an assistant at Texas Southern. Like, there's just so many different movement pieces. And also there's always the parts of alumni already being like, our coach is on the hot seat for this season.
We haven't even tipped the ball up. You talking about hot seat?
He will be ready. And then, of course, we have Charlie Ward, who is a Hall of Famer, a decorated athlete who went to FAMU. But no, people are already ready. If you're not winning, you're not producing at the level you once were, people are ready to move on, because especially in the SWAC, obviously the MEAC is all veteran coaches when it comes to the men's side. But in the SWAC, when they see other institutions hiring new coaches and getting better results instantly, and to some people, they're like, oh, they didn't make that big of a jump. Going from 10th to 7th is a big jump. Going from never to all of a sudden having, like, to starting is a big jump. And so people want that gratification by veteran coaches. And then in the MEAC, we obviously have no movement on the men's side. But for the women, we have the departure of Larry Vickers, who went to Auburn, which is always congrats to him. I hope he has much success. And then we had the hometown boy, Jermaine Woods, take the Norfolk State job. The Morgan State coach retired after many, many years. Nadine Domond, who is not any stranger to HBCU basketball. She was formerly at Virginia State and previously before that at Grambling, took the Morgan State job. And then Daryl Mosley, who was an assistant at Arizona State, which Arizona State lost to multiple HBCUs while he was an assistant there. Not any shade, just setting the scene. He took the job at Coppin. So we had quite a few movement at the Division I level. So it causes for, storylines. And we also have last year how Jackson State only lost by 1 point in the championship game. How are they going to, for men, how are they going to rebound off of that season? For women in Southern, are they going to repeat? They were the first SWAC women's team ever to win an NCAA tournament game. Are they going to be able to put together a season to redo that history? Like, who is going to be the new reigning throne of SWAC women's basketball? Is it going to be the Funches era, or are we going to see someone swoop in and take that top spot and start running the entire conference?
Isn't it amazing? Just a few years ago, we were talking about how the school in Mississippi was the queens of the basketball court, and now it seems like, I don't want to say everybody has a chance, but there's more teams that have a chance than previously.
Yeah.
Right? So find that interesting. How about the Division II, or maybe even the NAIA? Any interesting storylines in the offseason that caught your eye?
Yeah, so I think with the CIAA, the biggest one was that there was only 2 coaching swaps and they switched schools. So we had Coach Honan from Bluefield State went to Fayetteville State, and then the Fayetteville State coach went to Bluefield State after just winning CIAA Coach of the Year. So everyone was kind of like, when I released that news, everyone was so confused. They were like, wait, he just won Coach of the Year. How does that happen? So I think that's a good storyline. But nonetheless, I think the best thing with Division II basketball right now is that there are multiple teams receiving points, receiving votes in the national poll, which is what we want to see. So we have Virginia State, who's already preseason ranked number 21 in the nation. And then we have Miles, Fayetteville State. Who's the other ones? There was 2 other teams. My mind's going blank. I can't remember everything. But there's multiple teams that are preseason ranked. And for the women, the same story goes there. For NAIA, obviously we have, it was Virginia State, Miles, Lincoln of Missouri, Clark Atlanta, and Fayetteville State all receiving votes in the national poll, which is huge. If anyone recalls from last year in the CIAA, they had 3 teams who got birth to the NCAA tournament, which is huge. That's what we want to see. We want to see multiple bids coming from our league. And then with the SIAC, it's going to be a brand new conference this year. So many teams completely reloaded, like have 12 plus new players on their team. Like, yes, Miles is receiving votes, but I'm pretty positive they have like 15 new players on their team. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that conference shakes out because, again, so many teams, whether it was due to graduation or that additional rule where players could only go Division I for the extra year, they lost players. Everyone lost players. And then for women, Fayetteville State is going for the three-peat, which in my opinion, I think they're going to get. They reloaded with so much good talent, and Coach Brown is a phenomenal coach. But it's anyone's game. The CIAA is always kind of crazy, and it's not like an easy roadmap to get to the championship game. And I saw that. How did Miles receive 15 votes with 15 new players? Because their coaching staff is that good and that well respected. Last year, they were ranked in the top 5 the entire season. The fact that they didn't get picked to go to the NCAA tournament was honestly, I was flabbergasted, but that's how the coaching panel respects their coaching staff so much that they received votes. Now, it wasn't that many. They only received 27, but nonetheless, they're respected. They're very well respected amongst the Division II basketball scene. But with NAIA, obviously, everyone knows about Langston. And if you don't, I feel like you're just living under a rock at this point, or you don't care about basketball, which is always fine. Both teams are nationally ranked to start the season, which is phenomenal. Langston men were ranked number 4, and Langston women were ranked number 11. Langston men are 2-1 on the season. They did already drop a game, but it was to a team receiving votes. And then the next game, they beat the number 10 team. So we'll always see competitive game with them. And the women are 2-0. They just came off of an exhibition game versus LSU. So we're not really paying attention to that too much. And then the HBCU AC should always be competitive. I'm interested to see how it looks across both sides because there are quite a few new coaches, a lot of new players, and a lot of departures. Because again, that extra year rule where players could only go Division I gave players opportunities to leave and pursue that goal of playing Division I basketball for that final year. But there's NAIA basketball already started like 2 weeks ago. So it's been all right.
I didn't hear Florida Memorial, Liv.
Yeah, so Florida Memorial, they weren't ranked for either. Their women's team was receiving votes. Florida Memorial did get a new coach in the offseason because their previous coach left to be an assistant at High Point, which is a very well-respected mid-major program, constantly ranked in the top 25. He left. The assistant took the head coaching job. I believe both the men and women won their opening season games, which were just this week. So they're both 1-0. I do think Florida Memorial will crack the top 25 for both. But, we'll always see NAIA basketball is some of the most competitive basketball you will ever watch. Like for the men, the number 3 team, number 2 team, number 13, obviously number 4, number 20, multiple top ranked teams lost within their first 3 games. It's just so competitive. And that's why we see D1 teams shopping in the NAIA to pull players to be on their roster for the following season.
Nice. Troy Coleman had asked, are you doing a preseason poll or ranking?
I already posted
I don't know if she's doing polls, but are you doing a preseason ranking?
Oh, like my top 5? Those should be dropping soon. I will continue my rankings through the season. I'm pretty sure those either dropping tonight or tomorrow, just for Division I right now, but those should be out. I did do each conference individually, and I did that for D2 as well. But again, preseason is just that, just preseason. But I do have a top 5, Power 5 for the men and the women that should be out tonight, tomorrow, one or the other. But
and
if
all that's on HBCUGameDay.com, correct?
So the rankings are on with HBCU Pass. I know I collab with a lot of people, but my Power 5s are with HBCU Pass. But also they're listed now on College Insider, which is the mid-major platform. So they'll be on there too, because we want to get everyone noticing HBCU so the voting panels are aware and voting accurately. That's always the biggest thing, is that they don't pay attention to HBCU teams. So they just don't vote for them. And yes, Morehouse men should be a lot better this year. A lot better, more competitive. If you saw their scrimmage versus Georgia State, they barely lost. And side note, they were missing their top 3 best players, and they barely lost that game.
Where did you get that nugget from?
Oh no. But I am not sure if those players are expected to make their be able to play anytime soon, but they were missing them. So that's a great sign when you can compete with a Division I team, regardless if Georgia State is that good or not. But I really believe if they would have had those other players, they would have beat Georgia State in that exhibition game. But yeah, Morehouse will be a problem in the SIAC this coming season. We're going to see a shakeup. I promise. The SIAC is going to be a shakeup. We're not going to see the dominant play we're used to seeing. There's going to be a lot of competitiveness happening this coming season, especially at the Division II level.
Sly being petty says he was my color commentator for that game.
Hey, hold on, Drew. Okay, this is the part of the show where I always love to hear Liv rant about something. So, because Liv keeps it 100. I mean, she doesn't hold back, and that's why she's everywhere, and that's why we love Liv. Now, I know the SIC is going to Drew, a 20-game schedule.
24.
Excuse me. Thank you. I knew I undershot it. 24-game schedule.
Conference schedule.
Conference schedule. When you only get to play 28 in a season.
Mm-hmm. And two of those 28 are exempt games. Yeah. So you actually there's 26 regular season plus 2 exempts.
Jesus. All right. So I don't know if you what is your biggest beef, your biggest rant? What do you want to see programs in schools, athletic departments, conferences? Drew, you may need to hit your you may need to hide on this. What do you want to see change in the upcoming season for HBCU hoops to get better exposure, Liv? Because this is why I'm going to sit back and watch you go.
So number one, I think that decision is not a good decision for the SIAC, simply because, unfortunately, and this is just me being very realistic, us HBCUs playing other HBCUs does nothing when it comes to national attention, right? So when you get the opportunity to go out and create a non-conference schedule where you can schedule teams that are highly respected. I respect all HBCUs. I love our coaches. I love our programs, but it's how other people view ours and why the SIAC isn't only a 1-bid conference. Okay. This is not going to help. We have to show, and this is across the board, we have to show that we're competitive in non-conference play. And that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I need us to no blowouts. And I just hate that people talk so bad about the SWAC. And that's why I get on my little jukebox every single time defending them, because one team, and it's actually 2, pull down the ranking of the entire conference, and it makes everybody look bad, and why the conference itself is not respected. So, and that's like, obviously those schools have systemic issues of why sometimes their success is hindered. But in my opinion, I'm like, we have to put up a fight. I don't care who we're playing. Getting blown up by 40, those days have to be completely over. Whether it's D1, D2, NAIA, we have to put a competitive product out there in order to build the respect to be a multi-bid conference. And that's exactly what the CIAA did. I think they've done a phenomenal job of building, because they're women too. Their women sent 2 teams to the Division II national tournament last year. And the year before, it could have been 2 as well. We have to earn the respect of everybody else. And is that right? No. But it's the unfortunate truth. So when we're playing these non-conference games, and this is why I hate money games, although we can beat, like in some cases, we saw 2 years ago, especially when Southern beat Mississippi State on the road, men, when Southern women beat Oklahoma on the road, when UAPB, who did they beat? We were seeing upsets like that, but we have to be competitive. So we'll see in the opening day, there's multiple ranked teams, but we have to do a better job of win, lose, or draw. Each team needs to promote their teams better across the board, on Twitter, on Instagram. That's what social media is for. You have to promote your players, promote your brand, get it out there. Games have to be accessible. Like, and I think I've been saying that since I've been live for hoops, whatever. Games have to be accessible. If people can't watch, no one cares. Like, for example, when Mississippi State their announcers were garnering all that national attention for how fun and active they were during the games. And then Valley put their games behind a paywall after they got all that attention. It stunted the growth of what Valley basketball, the attention that could have been. Now, do we necessarily want all eyes on Valley right now? Probably not. But when we have those opportunities where people are like, oh my, because anyone can go viral now. We need to see. And that's why I'm so against, I'm sorry, like I'm going like just on tangent, but that's why I'm so against like teams not posting from their individual team pages. If I'm a hoops follower, I don't give a rat's tail about golf. No offense. Like, this is just me as a viewer. I don't care about volleyball. I don't care about soccer. I want to see the basketball content. So when you're not posting on your men's specific basketball page, on your women's specific basketball page, and your last post was from August.
August of 2024?
Some of them, to be honest. It looks like you don't care about your program. Like, to be honest, and we have to care about the brand we're putting out, make the information accessible, make the games accessible. And that's why I'm glad, SWAC TV, although it's had some bumps, I've watched multiple games on there when Alabama A&M was playing. It was good quality. I mean, I hate that you can't pause and go back and forth during the live stream, but the games are free and accessible. I'm not having to go and pay for Bulldogs All Access, Jaguar Sports Network, Rattlers Plus. Like, more than half the league last year was behind a paywall. And yes, the teams who don't have your roster posted, what is wrong with you? He said it, and I'll say it. South Carolina State still does not. What are you hiding? No, I promise you, you're laughing. What are you hiding? Why is your website not updated? Why is your roster not updated? Everyone's going to see the film on the first day. You don't have to hide your roster. And that goes across the board. Like, we have to keep up with things. And this is why I beat my chest, because you have to, your roster has to be posted. It should not be the day of the game. This should have been up literally. I'll give people, you can remove people, but the first day of school, roster should have been updated. Okay, SWAC TV with basketball hasn't been. I haven't watched with football, so I won't speak of that. I also think it depends on the schools, because they're streaming through SWAC TV. So I think some of the issues are school-based,
yes, they are.
Not necessarily SWAC TV. So I think we have to stop with like SWAC TV is flaky or janky. It's those schools that are putting out janky products.
Exactly. SWAC TV is the vehicle. SWAC TV, it's like YouTube.
It's like Tubi or Netflix or whatever.
Exactly. It's the vehicle that their production. So if the production is bad, blame the school.
Correct.
Look at the school. That's the issue. Most times, 90% of the time, that's where the issue is, or whoever is broadcasting on behalf of the school.
And so I think we just have to continue, everyone who's using their platforms to elevate the teams, to elevate the players, that all matters. Like, when it goes into like mid-major awards, people are looking at that stuff. If we're not advocating for our players, like especially school fan bases, if you have a player who is shining, everyone should be talking about that player, tagging the player. We just have to go above and beyond because we are HBCUs. And is that fair? No, but it is the truth. And yeah, CSU did hire a women's basketball coach late, but that's because they were moving slow. And that's the school's issue. And I've said for the past 10 years, they have not had a winning record. So, and if they really, and all respect to coaches, I think all coaches know it's love, but at some point you have to make a decision to go younger and a player and a coach who can really move the program forward, because there can be a disconnect between an old coach and this new generation. This new generation is not the same type of hoopers we're used to seeing. And
I agree with that.
That's just something we need to be aware of. That's why we're seeing story times on TikTok. And that's why we're seeing like players quitting after 2 weeks. You have to be able to connect with this younger generation. And it's more like a lot of them don't really, they care, but they don't care the way hoopers used to. You know what I'm saying? So I think if sports, the school departments, and again, I know HBCUs have very small teams. A lot of them have volunteers and like one head honcho, but we have to do a better job of keeping up with our media, posting on game days, where to watch, what time. You got to make everything available so people know when to tune in. People shouldn't have to go over and beyond to search for stuff. And by the way, this is my last point, because if I don't say it, I'm going to be mad at myself. Having 12 teams in the SWAC tournament is about the silliest thing I've ever seen. And I'm going to give some reasons why, and then I'll let you guys get back to football. One, some of these, there's going to be teams sitting for 4 days because the banquet is before the tournament starts. So these teams are going to be sitting, if you're a high seed, you're going to be sitting for multiple days, having to find stuff for your team to do. You're going to have to pay money for stuff for your team to do so they're not sitting in the hotel. You have to go and find places to practice, and you're going to be sitting around, waste of money. Second point, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, I love underdogs. I love underdogs when it's like our top HBCUs. I don't believe if we roll a 12 seed into the tournament, they're going to make any noise. And what does that say about like our league? And yes, it's like win out, but it's just a waste. We want to send the best of the best. And yes, people will say, oh, well then win the whole thing. Yeah, that's for like 8 and below. Why are we wasting teams' money sending when they win one conference game? Like, please, it's so silly to me. It's a waste of time. And we really should have kept it at 8. 10 is too much. 12 is too much. Keep it at 8. Roll with that. And yeah, I actually really like the way the SIAC does it, where the top seed gets to host the game. And then it goes to the tourney style of the same location. I think that's phenomenal, because what else is the point of being a top seed? Ooh, you get to wear the home color jerseys. Like, and best believe, I guarantee you after this year, it will go back to the way it was.
I've only got one counterpoint to you, Liv.
Yes.
Men, women. There's only one championship that's going to be given out in the tournament.
Yeah.
But for the student athletes who go to that tournament site, you have 12 different tournament experiences. Only one men and women's team is going to get the NCAA experience because they have earned it. But given those student athletes that tournament experience, because there have been many student athletes under the old format that never got the experience of going to a tournament.
And that really sucks for them. But you know what that shows them? You got to win. What, like, You gotta win. And
She's
while
not buying it, Brian.
I'm really not,
Nope,
because you just have to win. If you really care about getting that experience that much, and why would I want to go do a whole banquet, lose the first round, and then just like go back? To me, it's like, if it's that important to you, you got to win. You knew the school you were choosing when you chose it. And I'm going to be 100. If I'm choosing Valley, it's because, and to be honest, I feel like I don't have to say respectfully, this is definitely the truth. If I'm choosing Valley, it's because it's like either A, my only Division I offer, or it's my only offer, period. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in very serious on the product they've been putting out. Have they had, players who I thought were like, wow, they're really good? Yes, a lot of them were JUCO players who weren't getting offered elsewhere. But I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in participation trophies. I don't think everyone earns that, because that's not sports. Like, it's just not sports. If you wanna get there, win. Like, otherwise you're just, what do they say? If you're not first, then you're last. Like,
I can't disagree with you, Liv.
And now for to come counterpoint to my counterpoint.
Drew did all, Drew works for an athletic department now. So see, he's selling now. He has to give that.
I gotta say it. But I will say this, and one thing that sucks about basketball, and Liv could definitely attest to this. When you play college basketball, you get none of the breaks that any other students get.
Yeah.
You don't get fall break, because basketball practice has just started during fall break. You don't get Thanksgiving, because if you're not playing, you're practicing.
Yep.
You get about 2 days for Christmas.
Legit.
Because it's the middle of the season. And spring break is always during basketball tournament time.
It's always the conference tournaments, yeah.
So
that's why
basketball athletes have it the worst in college.
That's why I said that was the one counter argument I had about sending 12 or sending 4 extra teams, because those 4 extra teams, those kids by that point, they're ready to go on spring break. Exactly. 1, 2, 3 spring break. And now it's like, our season has to last 5 more days.
And that's why I think if they want to go the 12 route, then they have to take a page out of the SIAC's book, and the top team hosts that team at their school site. Making all the teams go to Atlanta is just, it's not moving me. I didn't even like when they moved it to 10 last year. And I was very vocal about that. So the 12, it just looks like we want to give,
it's about the students. What was the line? It's the student athlete experience. Apparently, some class of student athletes who probably aren't even going to be participating or still eligible this year, when asked, said, "Yeah, we would all love to be in the tournament." So win. That should have been what somebody said.
This is what I say to that. Are we in the business? And yes, we want to make student athletes, happy. I think that relies a lot on their own schools and their own universities and coaches. As a conference, we're here to make money. We're here to build the brand. Sending 12 teams to a conference tournament is not building the brand.
I just hope that those early rounds have there are more fans and staff at those early round games, because sometimes those early round games don't even have mamas and girlfriends or boyfriends at those games.
No. So that was my last point, because I've been seeing people have been talking about it. Like, they talked about it a lot at the SWAC media days. But I also want to say that Coppin, I don't know if people saw, but they did get hit with the APR. So they do not qualify for postseason play for men's basketball. So their men's tournament will only be 7 teams
in the MEAC this year. Wow.
And by the way, that was not released by the MEAC. So, until they say something, but they definitely got hit with APR. But they're perfect. 8 It's not breaking news when it was already broke online. People just have been in their football world.
All right, Liv. Before I let you go, I need some winners for tomorrow. You know, the first day of college hoops begins. Let's start with just going through some of the women's games. You know, I mentioned in the last break or in the tease that somebody's kicking off their season at 11 a.m. None other than North Carolina Central women going to Chapel Hill, taking on North Carolina at 11 a.m.
Yes.
Norfolk State's women going to Ole Miss at noon. Jesus, which really, I guess,
these times he's saying are Eastern for anyone
Eastern
who
time.
doesn't live in the Eastern time zone.
Right. So that Ole Miss game is 11 a.m. Central time. Coppin is traveling out west to take on Arizona State. Those are the 3 Monday games in the MEAC. I see Morgan State on Tuesday is taking on University of Virginia. Howard is taking on Providence College. I'm assuming that's Providence of the Big East. I'm assuming.
Yep.
Over in the SWAC women at noon, UAPB traveling to Memphis again at noon. Prairie View on UTEP at 2:00. Alabama State taking on Georgia at 5. Bethune at UCF at 6:00. FAMU at Florida State at 6:00. And Alcorn State hosting Nichols at 7. Southern traveling to Iowa at 7:30. Jackson State's playing Mississippi College University for women. Jesus.
The only one with a cupcake.
Yeah, starting with a cupcake. Good for you, JSU. Smart move. What? Any winners? Anybody you see that might be able to pull an upset there on the women's side, day 1 or 2, Liv?
I think day 1 is very intense. I will say I'm looking for teams to be competitive. Like I said, I do have Bethune-Cookman versus UCF circled simply because Edward Waters' women just played UCF in a real exhibition game and only lost by 11 points. So that's what really perked my ears, that Bethune is going to be competitive in that game because Edward Waters was too. And like, shout out to, they have a phenomenal coaching staff down there. So I know they
Coach
were
Jackson.
prepared. Yes, phenomenal. And so they only lost by 11. They had it single digits at like the last 2 minutes. I also am intrigued to see how Norfolk State plays at number 12 Ole Miss. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be a win. I think Norfolk State has some of the best guard play in all of HBCU basketball. They might even be in the conversation for best mid-major. So I'm intrigued. Ole Miss has a lot of size, so I think that's what's going to really beat Norfolk State up. But I'm intrigued. You know, Norfolk State had a lot of success last season under Coach Vickers, and so the expectation is that Coach Woods follows that. And then Alcorn at Nichols, Alcorn versus Nichols, they're hosting. I would hope Alcorn would win that game. Nichols played multiple HBCUs last year, but Alcorn lost their best player in Destiny. She transferred to UNLV, so we will see. And obviously, I'm in Jackson State. I mean, I think it's smart to kick off your season with an easy, real game just to get like the juices flowing. But I think, and I'm also intrigued by Southern. Last year, they were competitive until like in most games against top programs till like the 10-minute mark. They were like really rolling. So I'm excited to see how they look this year. And Howard over Providence for sure. Maybe not for sure, but I have that as a super competitive game. Howard's going to be good this year. They're going to be good. So I think that's going to be a really good game. Either way, find a women's game to watch and watch it. You know, the men are the men, but the women for sure make sure you watch a game tomorrow. You have all day.
Yeah, a lot of those games that I mentioned, UAPB is on ESPN Plus, Preview Women's on ESPN Plus, the Alabama State game is on the SEC Network, ESPN Plus for the Bethune-Cookman game, the ACC Network for the FAMU game. Hopefully, SWAC TV will be showing the Alcorn State women. I don't know.
So I wasn't sure about that. I know teams had to put in with the conference to do that. Otherwise, they can just stream on their previous platforms for non-conference. all conference games will be on SWAC TV, but for non-conference, I think they had to like put in for them. But it's a lot of different. If you want to, I'll make my tweets tomorrow of where to watch and all that. I also have the article with HBCU Game Day. And then for the men, because I know people are like, okay, enough basketball. The games that I have circled is Hampton at Milwaukee. Hampton is going to be good this year. They're going to be good this year.
Hampton.
And then obviously Nolan Smith has his home opener versus Fisk, which is a Division II, but we'll see what he has to offer as a head coach of Tennessee State. And then Howard is hosting Mizzou.
Thank you. I was gonna say that's huge.
And my favorite, I said this in my article, so if you didn't read my MEAC article, you wouldn't know. My number one transfer in the MEAC for the men is Cedric Taylor, the third from Morehouse. That man is when I saw him freshman year, I was like, this man is a Division I player. And there's amazing players at every single level. But I was like, this dude can hoop. And now he's there. He brings size. He can score. I know he's been getting more consistent with his shot. So it's scary hours. And I'm really excited that they're hosting them because, that's big. And then lastly, because the pressure is on for this team, and this is what I'll leave everyone with. Bethune has all the pressure in the world to be successful because this team has not played a single game. They're receiving votes in the mid-major top 25. People are picking them to win the conference across, if all these platforms that post like their number one teams who they think are going to win the SWAC, it's all Bethune. Because on paper, they're very talented. They have multiple P4 transfers, players transferring back that have experience, but the pressure is on them to perform. And they're going to number 20 Auburn. And with as many P4 players as they have, I'm super intrigued to see how they compete because the pressure is on them. And obviously Coach Theus can't fire himself because he's the AD. I mean, he could, but
probably have some interesting conversations
with
after
himself in the mirror. Probably the pressure is definitely on them to compete because everyone, like people who have never talked about HBCU basketball before, are talking about it because of Bethune. So the pressure is on them to compete and really do what they're supposed to do. And to be honest, having a season without a championship for them is an extreme letdown based on what they have on paper.
And that game going to Auburn. This is the first game post Bruce Pearl, if I'm not mistaken. Like his son is his son that's taking over the program now.
Yep.
Big spot here, Bethune-Cookman. I'll be looking for a number on that one. Hold on, I was looking on ESPN right now to see if they got a number on that game.
Auburn got enough going on with around football. If they drop this basketball game to an HBCU and somebody who used to live in that area, oh my God, you don't want to be in Lee County.
Yeah, that's 8:00 on the SEC network. All right, I appreciate that, Liv. Liv gave me a few games to look out for. I'll be looking out for that points. Let's see if I'll be taking Bethune-Cookman, at least maybe in the first half. See if I can grab Bethune-Cookman on that one. 5 or 6 HBCUs are taking on top 25 teams tomorrow. So plenty of exciting stuff. Make sure you guys are following at Live for Hoops. All of the content, great follow on Twitter and Instagram, Liv, always appreciate you. Live for hoops or die lonely, as I like to say.
Thank you.
All right, Liv, take care. We'll see you Wednesday night. Bye. Good stuff.
I noticed you did that before she had the chance to say nope.
Yeah, exactly. No, we already talked. So, Liv will come on Wednesday and we'll get a chance to talk about the first game of the season for FAMU men and women, the Charlie Ward era at USF. I'm excited about that Monday night. Coach pressure across the street, down the street, I should say, against Florida State. Big year for Coach Gordon, man. Year 3. This is the third year of the 3-year contract. And she comes in with her girls, her ladies, and this is all her class. So It's time to see this team actually achieve some of the things that she hopes and wants to. This would be a good first step. But people are going to hold her accountable for the last 2 years, right? I mean, because that's what Rattlers do. All right, let's take a break. Come back. Let's get back into some more football talk. Kind of recap again what happened over the MEAC and then in the SIC CIAA, where some championships are getting a little bit closer, as they are only a week away from championship Saturday in the CIAA and the SIC. We'll talk about it on the other side. You're watching the Sports Wrap with A.D. Drew, Bryan Fulford. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. You guys make sure to go follow at Live for Hoops and let her know you appreciate her coming on the show. Great preview to the upcoming basketball season. If you missed any parts of it, go back and watch it on YouTube, Facebook, the podcast, BCSN Pod Zone. We will have the you can download the full episode a little bit later. If you're not already subscribed to the Pod Zone, BCSN Pod Zone, please go to your Spotify, iHeartRadio, the Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, go download it, subscribe to it, rate and review, turn the bell and notifications on. Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Blue Jacket, you don't have social media to follow Liv, but you got social media to follow us. Come on, man. Come on. Give me one better than that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll be good info, man. I'm gonna be looking for
just
that,
catch you on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for that big for that Bethune-Cookman game. I'm curious to see what the point spread is gonna be against Auburn. You guys Wait a minute. Auburn football fired Hugh Freeze, huh?
Yep. Another. I think there's been at least one firing on the P5 level every week since the 1st of October.
Maryland fired their coach too, if I'm not mistaken. The black guy who's been there the last few seasons. Damn. Well, yeah, it's this is an unprecedented year for college football.
It's the new times. It's the NIL / portal.
I don't know. Can we really blame it on NIL, or can we just can we blame it on impatience? Can we blame it on poor hiring in the first place? Or maybe these contracts are just
unrealistic.
I mean, these schools are burying themselves in. There's going to be a bubble. Usually these kind of things result in a bubble, don't they, Drew? When you imagine, even though I have said college athletics is recession proof, and I firmly continue to believe that.
When you got about $500 million in buyouts between all these coaches, that is something that will burst the bubble and lead you into a recession. I don't understand how these teams are going to pay some of these coaches $50-60 million and then afford to pay the next coach and not find themselves in situations where their NIL is going to be affected, or the school budgets are going to be affected, or the athletic budget is going to be affected, because somebody has to pick up this tab one way or the other, Brian. We don't have money going around like that.
Who's we?
It just general college sports fans, period.
Somebody's footing the bill. There must be enough people in the booster organization that are making money hand over fist that they can afford these buyouts.
If that's what your mouth say.
Mouth say that. Otherwise, why would you get rid of the guy and still pay him to do nothing, to sit around and essentially you're paying a guy to go away. You're not even reassigning the guy, so anyway, Southern being the only school to have gotten rid of an HBCU so far mid-season, it was that bad that Southern said we gotta end now. Okay. The CIAA. Well, let me help. Before we get to the CIAA and the SIC, got to make mention very short because there's only 3 games to really mention in the MEAC. Of course, the Thursday night matchup saw 47,000 plus in the vet to watch Delaware State beat Norfolk State. The battle of former teammates, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Vick. And that was 47,000 people in the stadium, Drew. In the stadium, butts in seats, not floating around the perimeter, tailgating, inside the parking lot. That was 47,000 paid people who went inside the stadium.
I wouldn't necessarily say paid, Ryan, because I'm pretty sure there was a significant number of comps, but
okay.
If there's 47K.
But 47,000 came through the turnstiles with a ticket.
Yes. And I know some of the shots on TV did not, people were saying that it did not look like that, but
no, I see some other angles where, the TV's not focused on that per se.
Yeah, but let's keep something in mind. That's a 70,000 seat stadium, everybody, when we're thinking about it.
Good point.
So,
good point.
Even though it looks like it's half full or every other seat, when you're 47 and 70,000 seat stadium, you're gonna have some empty spots. But Brian, I know you were talking about MEAC. There is one school I want to get into that did not have the attendance that they thought they were gonna have this weekend. But we'll hold on that till we get to Division II.
Oh, okay. I'm like, hold on. I was trying to do some comparison because Temple played in that very same stadium yesterday against East Carolina. Now Temple is a 5-4 program, lost 45-14, and I was trying to see if I could find
a crowd shot.
Find the attendance box score. But anyway, while I'm looking that up, the other scores in the MEAC on Saturday, you had again Delaware State won 27-20. Probably wasn't as close of a game as the score indicated. I think didn't Norfolk State score a late touchdown? In that game.
Well, just like all the points were scored in the fourth quarter. It was first and fourth quarter. Second and third quarters were kind of duddish.
Yeah, you had 14-4, 28 total points scored in the fourth quarter of that game. I was just on the box score for that game. I was just trying to see what the number one rushing offense in the nation did. Rushing wise, actually a mild day. Only 201 net rushing yards and 1 touchdowns. Maybe Norfolk State's defense did get better in the course of a short week. Thank you, Lawrence. You're the man. Only 13,168 in the same stadium. Wow, that's the win that those schools can now go to the Vet next year, because this was Delaware State's home game. Next year, Norfolk State is their home game. Now, unless Norfolk State does what they did for homecoming and let everybody in the city of Norfolk in the vicinity and count that as the attendance, Norfolk State would be wise to go to the Vet, look for a weekend and say, hey, we want a Saturday. And now with a Saturday between those two guys, those two programs, you might be able to pull a 60,000 plus. And I know a lot of people said, I saw some comments, people say, well, 20,000 people were Eagles fans that were there to support. Exactly. That's what I said. I said, great. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Now, the one question I get with this being Norfolk's home game,
it was Delaware's home game.
I mean, Delaware State's home game. Was it a 50-50 split on the revenue, or was it because it was a classic, or was it considered as Delaware State's home game and they got a bulk of the money? I'm just curious about the financials.
Yeah, I am too. I wonder if Steve and HBCU Game Day will drop an article, I'm sure in the next, maybe over the course of the week. Let the reporters either at Game Day or HBCU Sports, they'll probably have a good story regarding that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how the financials were, because I got a feeling, Drew, there's just something in my heart that tells me that the owner of the Eagles, Jeffrey Loria, might have had some kind of influence in making this game possible in the stadium. Just a hunch, just a guess.
And you know something, Brian? You bring up an interesting point. For all these classics and these teams looking for these classics, have we recently seen a first-year classic with the success that these last two first-year classics have had, Brian? The Las Vegas Classic, and I don't even know if this game was even called a classic.
I don't think this was just called a classic.
It was just a neutral site game. But what was the one thing that was in common, Brian?
Yeah, I don't think I heard anything about this game being called a classic.
Yeah, but the thing was, these were backed by the NFL teams at those venues. This was not necessarily a lot of promoter A going to rent out the facilities. These were backed and partnerships with the NFL teams, not Joe promoter going to rent the stadium. I think that is something that we need to look at when we look at the success of some of these classics, especially on the new ones. We're not talking about a Magic City that has history. We're not talking about a Florida Classic that has history. Even a Bayou, which has history, but it's probably not as supported by the New Orleans saints as these two classics have seemed to have been. But I think that's something that's important, that those NFL teams are backing those and those owners.
Well, it is interesting. It's a great opportunity to offset cost, because if we talked about the failure of the Georgia Classic, right? And that's $1 million rental. Well, if the NFL franchise is choosing to use that stadium, and I'm sure not that they own the stadium, and I don't know if Loria owns the Vet, so that's kind of, yeah. So it may be city owned, but I would imagine,
and it's the link, Brian. You still thinking about the old stadium?
It's I keep calling it the Vet. I keep calling it the Vet. It's the
link.
It's the link. Thank you. Yeah, I keep calling it the Vet. You're right. If the link is part of the city, or how much do the Eagles have a stake in it? That's a good opportunity to offset costs, because if you're giving, say, the schools ticket sales, I would imagine the NFL franchise getting all the other stuff, which is A, the concessions, B, the parking. I mean, those are significant dollars, right?
Yeah.
On a day when the stadium would typically sit around and do nothing.
And I'm pretty sure there was some Eagles merchandise available too.
Oh, for sure. For sure there. There was some
matter of fact, if there were probably a bunch of 10 and 7 jerseys for sale.
Well, and I know it was the talk of the Vic 7 jerseys were a big talking point at the beginning of the year, but no, I don't know if I ever saw, did the Delaware State number 10 jerseys ever come out? Did anyone ever talk about, the Delaware State jerseys?
I don't know, but I guarantee you probably could have picked up a 10 Eagles jersey at the game.
You probably could have. You probably could have.
If somebody in the marketing department was smart, you would have been able to pick up some.
Exactly. Hey, could that be a tax write-off? I was thinking the same thing, Keith. I was thinking the same thing. That might be a tax write-off opportunity for those programs. But anyway, good job to everybody that attended Lincoln Financial Field on Thursday. And I hope Norfolk State takes advantage and does it again as the home team next year.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. Before we get there, let me finish these other two MEAC games real quick before we jump into that. South Carolina State, 36-30 over Morgan State. Improves to 2-0. Morgan State drops to 0-2, 3-6 overall. Somebody's going to have to start asking a question about Morgan State pretty soon. I'm just saying. Somebody's going to have to ask it. I'm not going to ask it right now, but – and then North Carolina Central rebounds from a tough loss, gets a 35-14 win over Howard. So North Carolina Central is now 1-1. Howard is 1-1. And Delaware State, South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, all with 6-3 overall records. And it brings up next week on Friday, I'm sorry. We get to see Friday football in the MEAC as Delaware State travels to Morgan State. This could get bad. I'm just telling you now. We talk about it's gonna get bad for Morgan. I just got a feeling it's gonna be bad. Howard travels to South Carolina State. Norfolk State travels to North Carolina Central on Saturday. Those are the two Saturday games. So so that's the MEAC. All right, let's go to SIAC talk.
Well, hold up, Brian. Before you do that, go to Jamie's second question.
What, does this change the conversation about celebrity coaches? I thought you were highlighting his other question about.
No, I did, but that one came in second. Does this change the conversation? And here's the thing for me. Of the celebrity coaches or ex-NFL players who was hired this past offseason, nowhere in the conversation was Deshaun Jackson having a successful season. Matter of fact, it was almost like, y'all hired who? Are you serious? And look at the one of all the coaches, ex-NFL coaches that were hired, who's having the most success this year?
Well,
Deshaun.
this year. Well, but are we discounting Chris Dishman and the year he's having?
I said this year. This one was hired in the previous cycle.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about in this cycle.
Here's what I want to know about the Delaware State hire. And I can't say I'm someone who's paying attention to Delaware State, but I do want to know the recruiting story that brought in the quarterback from Del State, the running back, because usually it takes a minute before it all starts to gel in terms of the recruiting and the impact of your recruiting. Maybe Deshaun just kind of hit lightning in a bottle with the guys that he brought in year one. You know, like I fully expect Mike Vick to have a better recruiting year next year, not only from just transfers, but also in-house. I really expect Vick to have a better year next year. Usually year two is where we've seen a little bit of success from the quote-unquote celebrity hires. But, you know, I was going to say something. I also think the experience in coaching, you know, I know Dishman had significant experience coaching. Bubba McDowell had experience coaching prior to coming to Prairie View. Eddie Robinson, I don't think he had a lot of prior coaching experience. No, none.
No. I mean, not significant.
Not significant. So I think we have to analyze the two coaching and but Deshaun Jackson kind of falls into the Dion category from the standpoint of his coaching experience may not have been college, but it was more high school level. Right. So I think we got to put these hires into two categories. Those who are coming in cold off the street, like Eddie Robinson or Mike Vick, or those who are coming with some kind of coaching background, whether it be an assistant coaching.
Eddie George came in.
Put Eddie George in that category over there with those guys, right? Or that's a good one. That's a good one. By the way, what is Bowling Green doing this year? Are they doing anything?
I haven't paid attention.
Haven't heard of them, right? Haven't heard of them. And then on the other side, you know, Sanders, Dishman, Jackson, you know, Bubba McDowell, those guys would fall into the former players who had some type, again, I'm using the word some type of coaching background prior to actually taking over at a HBCU. I think we have to, and then we measure those success. Thank you, Lawrence. Bowling Green, 3-6 this year. Well, he's slightly one game better than Tennessee State, or maybe 2 games. So shit. There you go.
All right, now let's get to the big question, man.
All right. Over in the SIC, was there a conversation about Tuskegee? I don't know what happened over in Tuskegee, Drew. What I missed? It was homecoming in the SIC. From the shed, that's the hill, right?
Yes. And for those who don't know why this is significant, if you've never been to Tuskegee homecoming, you see something in this picture that in the 20 plus years that I've been associated with Tuskegee and homecoming that you have never seen before.
Let me guess. Let me guess.
You know what that is, Brian?
Let me guess. I know. I think I know.
For 500, Brian.
Green grass.
You know, and it's not that the fact that the grass is not green during homecoming. It's the fact that you could actually see it. The fact that there's usually people or tents where you see grass at right now, Brian. Brian, the fact that it is not elbow to elbow in Cleve Abbott Alumni Memorial Stadium on homecoming is a shocker. But, Brian, I think this was a perfect storm of things coming together with this Tuskegee situation. Let's start off with Captain Obvious. Obvious, we know what happened last year at homecoming. The unfortunate incident that happened at homecoming last year that turned some that may have turned some people off. Also, last year, Brian, record crowd, the 100th homecoming. Those numbers will probably never get duplicated. So you really, for comparison, you really need to go back to 23 homecoming for a true comparison of what it's like at Tuskegee for homecoming. And if you give me a second, I'll actually go back and pull up
I just pulled up the attendance for 2024. It was over 40,000 people.
It was 47,000 last year.
Right. Over 47,000.
Go back to 23 if you can. Change it to 23.
23. It's reported as 31,726.
That's almost 7,000 less than what they had in this particular game. So that's more of a comparable number than last year. So just the natural, it was not a significant number of homecoming affected attendance. What happened on campus last year affected attendance. The poor performance of the football team this year affected attendance. And Brian, I hate to say it, Brian. A statement made in August. Well, before I get to that statement, also, Brian, especially in that area, there are a lot of federal employees. The federal government shutdown may have also had a effect on attendance. And if you don't think this federal shutdown is real, you don't know somebody who works for the federal government. There may have been a significant number of people who were planning on traveling, who have government jobs, who better had to spend that money on more important things in life, such as mortgage, car payments, food, medicine, etc., etc. Now, let's get back to the comments on August 21st by the president of Tuskegee, when a statement was made that homecoming was for the students. Yes, homecoming is for the students. And we are focusing our attention on those, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, we are focusing our attention on the students that are here on campus right now. Campus will be closed. Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. The campus will be closed to vehicles on campus. Only registered vehicles will be on campus during homecoming. No car traffic. No events on campus during homecoming. So I'm gonna let you ask your questions before I go on into some of the responses and some of the alumni groups that I have been a part of.
Is this the first year that the president has been at an academic institution?
I don't know, and I do not remember whether whether this was the same president who responded to last year's incident or not, because the president is fairly new and took over sometime last year. I do not remember whether the president was actually in that position during the incident last year. I do know a significant number of people were let go after the security lapse last year. Police chief being one of them on campus was one. There were a number of other people who were let go about this.
Dr. Mark A. Brown.
Yes.
President of Tuskegee, the 10th president and CEO as of July 2024.
So he was there.
Wait a minute. He's the first alumnus to serve as president. Oh, hell. One of your own. It is one of your own, Tuskegee. How is, man, look, I'm out of this. This family business, Drew. How does one of your own told the alums that homecoming is not about alums coming back? Man, if alumni giving dries up, well, there now you know why. The man
Bryan
said homecoming is for the students. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
What is the definition of homecoming? Who's coming home? The students are already there.
Hold on, let's see what Google define homecoming.
Football homecoming.
An instance of returning home. Number 2, an annual event for current and former students of a high school, college, or university, typically featuring a football game and a dance. I mean, damn it, man, Drew. What is your man doing? He just took out the part about former students. He just took that out and said, I mean, that's what all the other home games are for. Yeah, and that's about the dumbest comment I've ever heard of presidents. I've heard some pretty dumb things, in academia or from people of leadership, but that was flat out dumb. It's just my opinion.
Now, Bryan, the alumni, some of the alumni groups that I am part of, or people who I follow on social media, that was a concerted effort to make a silent protest about those comments.
Sure, I can see
and
that.
their silent protest was the best way to protest is with your wallet.
Yeah.
Or lack of your wallet.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people said they would not be attending homecoming. And not only, like you said, Bryan, does this affect the giving, the annual giving that happens at everybody's homecoming, but an unintended consequence of this are the vendors and the community, especially in a smaller community such as Tuskegee, that significantly relies on homecoming annually for business purposes and budgets. And as a former employee of the city of Tuskegee, after I was working, after my days at Tuskegee University, I know for a fact that that city relies on that budget to fund the taxes from that day to fund a lot of various things.
Man, look, that's tough. I don't know, man. Shout out to the Tuskegee alumni for standing up. Again, he's an alum, and it just, there had to be a better way. I don't know who his circle of advisors is. Let me not
And I think it was I think it was a little bit of an overcorrection for what happened.
Sounds like it.
It
sounds like it.
And you
some of those
expect
things needed to be, some of those policies and procedures
needed to happen.
probably needed to happen.
And I agree with that. And I'll tell you one thing that was significant that I heard a lot of positive feedback on was the creation of Alumni Village, which about a mile from Tuskegee is the largest public park in Tuskegee.
Right.
In the city of Tuskegee. Actually, where my office used to be at was in that park. But they turned that park, they closed the park for the weekend and turned that park into an RV area where the alumni could do their RVs and do all that kind of stuff. They had their parties there off campus, and you were close enough to campus, too far to walk, but you were close enough where it's literally 5 minutes from campus. And I heard there was a lot of success for that one thing in particular. So there were some good things that came out of it, some refreshing ideas, but the main thing being the main thing, Tuskegee did win the game.
Yeah, hey, congratulations. 18-13 over Lane College.
But there are still some upset alumni that didn't show up, and people who I know who went to it and the game, and these are people, friends of mine who I follow on social, but these are actual real people that I know, Brian, not just social media friends. You know, and these people grew up in Tuskegee. There's like, it was not the same.
Well, still 24,000 people showed up. It was the second largest attendance for the weekend.
AD, do you agree with the athletic director about people wanting things for free and not willing to pay what you would pay for other universities? I don't think this was not about paying. People know, especially at Tuskegee's homecoming, that come with your wallet. And most of the time, people don't mind spending the money. This was one time that it was not about the hookup. I think for the people that I talked to or that I communicate with, it was about the principle this time. This had nothing to do with the lack of hookup. Now, once again, I think this is a perfect world coming together. Federal government shut down. The overcorrection, the poor play on the football field by Tuskegee standards, a lot of different factors went into it. That was just one factor in it. But if you talk to anybody, that one probably weighed a little bit more than all those other factors.
Let me see. Let's go through some of the other scores in the SIC. I was just kind of peeping to see, was that Tuskegee's final game? Yeah, that was final regular season game.
They traveled a mile. Yes, that's final home game.
Oh, and they have the Turkey Day Classic against Alabama State. So season's not, significantly over. You still got a couple games left. Albany State gets a 21-18 win over Savannah State. Not the kind of game, from what I heard, Coach Quinn Gray was not happy about the performance. Happy to get the win, but not excited about the performance of his team. But with the win, Albany State clinches the number 1 seed in the SIAC, and they will host the SIAC tournament or a championship game in 2 weeks.
Yes. And they will play, Brian?
Well, yes. So the two teams that were in contention sitting at number 2 were Benedict and Kentucky State. Benedict, of course, was playing a non-conference game for homecoming. They beat VUL 42-10. Kentucky State hosting Clark Atlanta 43-28 to improve on the season. Hold on, let me find the standings.
Both
now,
6-1.
Yeah, both of them are sitting at 6-1 with one game to play. And that's what it comes down to. Benedict versus Kentucky State. This upcoming weekend, Benedict travels to Savannah State. Kentucky State travels to Lane.
Benedict to Kentucky State. I thought Benedict had Allen this weekend.
Hold on, am I looking at the right page? November 8th? Nope, November 8th. No, Allen and Edward Waters play this week.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Wrong game. You're right.
Okay, so the scenarios are what, Drew, for Benedict and Kentucky State, who neither team played each other head-to-head, so we don't have a head-to-head matchup between those two schools.
The scenarios are none, Brian. It has come down to tiebreaker number 4, Brian, which is strength of schedule among your conference opponents. And right now, I've ran the numbers for Kentucky State going into this week. Their opponents' combined win percent is a .422, Brian.
Okay, .422.
Right. Benedict's opponents' win percent is a .493.
422 plus 493. Now
versus a 493.
Right.
So right now, Benedict has a better strength of schedule. So, and I ran every simulation that I could, Ryan, to see what happens with this Saturday's games, to see if it would have an effect on the strength of schedule of these opponents. And no matter what scenario that I ran, Brian, Benedict will have the appearance in the championship game because their strength of schedule, no matter how it plays out, will be better than Kentucky State's strength of schedule. And you know the game that made the difference in this, Brian?
No, which one?
We just got through talking about it. The Tuskegee Lane game is the difference between the strength of schedules.
So the margin is .071.
Yeah.
The difference between Benedict and so how did that play out when you say that the difference was Tuskegee with an 18-13 win over Lane?
If Lane beats Tuskegee, their strength of schedules would have been exactly the same.
Wow.
That's how close it was. So that's how all games matter, Brian. Remember, we used to say that all games matter, even when it's not your game. It still matters.
All games matter. Yes.
But if Lane would have beat Tuskegee, they would have had the same identical record in the SIAC. But that 2-game difference is the swing game on those two team schedules because about 4 or 5 of the games are common opponents. So you're not going to get any bump in there one way or the other.
Jesus, man.
Now,
tough.
Brian, we're not done in the SIAC because
Jamie loves it. No divisions, huh?
Yeah.
You love this, huh, Jamie? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. Let me not get
that would be the only way Kentucky State can get in is if Benedict loses.
So it's funny you say that because
Kentucky State wins. If Kentucky State win and Benedict loses, Kentucky State is in. If both lose, Benedict is in. And both win,
so
Benedict is in.
Benedict is in. Right. So the only way that Kentucky State can get in, according to your metrics, is Savannah State has to beat Benedict. And of the two games, that is probably the tougher opponent, I would imagine, based on performance that we've seen this year. Like Lane is abysmal.
And that's going to be the toughest watch because both teams are offensively challenged. The defense, Brian, if those teams scored 30, 35 points between the two of them, I would be amazed because their defenses are that good and their offenses are that challenged.
Let me take a look here. Let me take a look. Benedict, I don't know, Drew. Benedict, Savannah State averages 18.1 a game. Benedict, 28 points a game.
Right. But of that 28, at least one score every game has been from defensive special teams, except for the game they lost.
Savannah State defensively allowing 23.3 a game. Benedict, number 2 in the league, 16.8. I'm not going to lie, Drew. I mean, with all respect to Benedict, we've seen Benedict and Albany State. We've seen Kentucky State and Albany State. It's going to be
a rematch no matter what.
It's going to be a rematch. But if I'm not mistaken, Kentucky State was more competitive, at least for a half.
2.5, almost through 3 quarters.
Yeah, they were more competitive than Benedict. And I think the fact that Kentucky State has a better offense makes it for a possibility of a better outcome or a better game.
And the fact that Kentucky State will have won, should they get to that point, 8 in a row.
Ooh, that part. Either way, Drew, Benedict and Kentucky State having an outstanding season. The fact that I don't think either of those were predicted to finish top 3, 4, probably top 6 in the conference. If I went back and looked at the preseason rankings, I don't think either one were predicted.
I think Benedict was mid-tier, about 5-ish maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Kentucky State was definitely in the bottom half of preseason.
So what is the scenario? Because we kind of talked about it a little bit in terms of the rankings. Now, we had the official, you talked about the rankings a little bit on Dr. Cavill's show, but and we know that, and when we talked last week, the predicted model had those 3 schools, Albany State, Kentucky State, Benedict, all ranked to a level where the champion plus the 2 at-larges would get one of the 8 spots.
Right. What has hurt is Edward Waters' loss, which means the chance of getting 4 in are probably not going to happen.
Right. Edward Waters lost 21-17 at home to Central State.
Yes. Now, this brings up the 4th place, not the 4th place thing, where the 4th place crossover, Brian, with the Conference Carolinas.
Okay.
Right now, if you look at the SIC standings, you have Edward Waters, Allen, and Fort Valley all tied with a 4-3 record.
Yep.
Now, here's the good thing, Brian. Edward Waters and Allen go head to head in the last game. So one team will be eliminated automatically.
Yep.
Now, Fort Valley has Albany State. Stranger things have happened, Brian.
I heard you sell this.
Fort Valley could beat Albany State. Now, Fort Valley pulls off the miracle. They beat Albany State. So how does Fort Valley and Edward Waters or Fort Valley and Allen fare? Because, once again, they did not play each other this year. And the strange thing is, Brian, if we were still in divisions, I know you love division less, Brian, they would have played, all these teams would have played each other because they were all in the former East.
Yep.
But here we go, Brian. A Fort Valley Allen tie at 5-3. Fort Valley wins the tiebreaker by virtue of the common game. Fort Valley defeated Savannah State, whereas Allen lost to Savannah State? You with me so far, Brian?
Say that again. I lost the signal. Say it again.
Okay. We know Allen, Edward Waters, one of them will eliminate the other one.
I heard that part, yes.
Okay. So we down to Fort Valley. If Allen beats Edward Waters and Fort Valley and Allen are tied, Fort Valley wins the tiebreaker by virtue of their win over Savannah State because Allen lost to Savannah State. Win over common opponent.
Okay.
Difference over a common opponent. Now, for Edward Waters and Fort Valley, should Edward Waters win their game and Fort Valley be tied with them, Edward Waters wins the tiebreak over Fort Valley by virtue of Edward Waters defeating Clark Atlanta and Fort Valley losing to Clark Atlanta this year. Common opponent. All games matter, Brian.
All games matter.
I got some scenarios in the CIAA too.
All right, let's jump over to the CIAA quickly here. The big headline story. I was just looking at the Division II national stats. We had been living in a world where Jada Byers was the baddest running back to come out of Virginia Union since, I don't know, the last dominant Virginia Union back before social media was created, I guess. But Curtis Allen maybe did something that hadn't been done in, according to HBCUSports.com, 70 years.
Wow.
70.
World War II type era. Korean War.
Virginia Union beat Bluefield State 70-14. That's not uncommon. We've seen, I feel like if we looked at the number of times that Virginia Union has beaten somebody by 50,
they put 90 up on them last year, didn't they?
I think they did. So
91, if I remember correctly.
Big improvement for Bluefield State. But as a result, well, first off, Virginia Union is 6-0 in conference play, the last unbeaten team in the CIAA. We'll talk about why that is in a moment. But Curtis Allen finished with 369 rushing yards. Oh, stop,
Brian,
stop.
But no, time out.
What did he say?
Brian, I've heard of a 69. I've never heard of a 369, though.
369. And you fine. Hey, look. To the flows. I mean, somebody, if you don't cut that promo, if you're doing a recap of this game, you're missing out. But yes, 369 rushing yards. I wish I could go back and count. Drew, maybe here's a homework assignment for Tuesday. How many schools did Curtis Allen outrush by himself?
Probably all of the above.
Sadly, he didn't. Because I know a school that came to Tallahassee on Saturday and fared a little bit better than him. But anyway, that might be the only school in the nation that did not get outrushed by Curtis Allen. And then he topped that with, hold on. How many carries did he do that on? So
it was like 20-something, wasn't
it? 26. 26. I got my trusty calculator here, Drew. Let me do the math here. 369. You fine. Anyway, divided by 26. That's an average of 14.2 yards per carry. He had 5 touchdowns, Drew. He had 225 and 4 touchdowns in the first half. His 369 rushing yards broke the CIAA record for rushing yards in a game, overtaking Winston-Salem State running back Richard Huntley's 31-year-old mark of 361 yards. Allen now has 1,947 yards on the season with at least 2 games to play. Bringing him within 114 yards of breaking the CIAA rushing record that was set just last year by Jada Byers.
And that record is?
Well, if I add, hold on, let me do the math then. 1947 plus 114, 2061 with 2 games to play.
And Jada did that in 12, 13 games last year.
Right, exactly. Where did I just read? What did I just read there? Oh, it was a 70. What did I say? Not 70 years, 70-point output. I'm sorry, I misread the quote. The headline says HBCU running back breaks single game conference record in 70-point output. I thought that was a 70-year record. No, that is just a 31-year record. That's all. Half of that. I'm sorry. And yeah, so as mentioned, Drew, Virginia Union is the last unbeaten conference team in the CIAA because Johnson C. Smith defeated Fayetteville State 17-13. Of course, a year ago, we all remember Johnson C. Smith was unbeaten 8-0 coming into week number 9 and then laid an egg in the last 2 weeks, missed out on the CIAA championship. The best story in Black college football turned into an asterisk, and just like that. No playoffs, no nothing. The Golden Bulls snapped an 8-game losing streak to the Broncos. Remember, don't forget, these 2 teams used to meet regularly in the South Division, the old South Division of the CIAA, which was owned by Fayetteville State. So there's a lot of losing that happened for Johnson C. Smith. The Bulls had an 8-game losing streak against the Broncos, which dated back to 2015. And it was the first time that Johnson C. Smith beat Fayetteville State on the road since 2012. No wonder Coach Flowers was emotional after the game. I'd be emotional too. So now we've got scenarios, Drew, because the standings, let me see. Where's my CIAA standings? Do you have
I'm
the
looking
CIAA
at it right
standings
now,
book?
Brian.
What are the standings in the CIAA right now?
Virginia Union 6-0. Johnson C. Smith and Fayetteville State are 5-1. And Virginia State is 4-2. No one else matters when it comes to the CIAA championship game.
Are they still playing neutral site championship?
Yes, it is in North Carolina.
Okay. All right.
Which will be advantage. Well, let's go through the scenarios.
Go through the scenarios, right? Because it's not guaranteed that Virginia Union has punched their ticket yet, is it?
Brian, I don't see how it's not guaranteed that Virginia Union has.
I'm just asking. I'm asking the question.
Has not punched their ticket because, well, let's take that back. The Johnson C. Smith game did not count on the CIAA standings. So it's as if those 2 teams did not play.
Right.
So now Virginia Union, they're the clubhouse leaders at 6-0. Should they finish tied with Johnson C. Smith, should Virginia Union lose to Virginia State, then we got to look at some crazy math here. Let's see, and I'm figuring this out because I when I looked at it originally, I had Johnson C. In there. It could get real interesting in the CIAA because you could have a scenario with Union, Johnson C, and Fayetteville all being tied at 6-1. And then we have to get into their 3-day tiebreaker. I don't know that off the top of my head, but you could that is a realistic possibility. Now, here's some other possibilities. Should both Johnson C and Fayetteville win, along with the Virginia Union win, you would have Johnson C and Virginia Union, because Johnson C has a head-to-head tiebreaker with Fayetteville State. Now, should Virginia State win, and
who's eliminated, by the way, going into the weekend, they were listed as one of 4 teams that had a shot, but mathematically,
all of them still have a shot, I think.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. Sorry. Go
Should
ahead.
Virginia State win, which would drop Union to 6-1, and should Johnson C and Fayetteville both lose, which would have 3 teams at 5-2. I believe in that scenario, Johnson C. Smith would still get in, because Johnson C. Smith defeated Virginia State and they defeated Fayetteville State. So that is a unique situation with a 3-way tie with a clear-cut winner, Brian.
I'm trying to see if I can find on the CIAA website
a tiebreaker scenario.
Tiebreaker scenario here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have looked this up earlier. I'm not coming across anything quickly.
What's Stephen J when you need him?
Exactly. Oh,
but yeah,
hold on.
There are 2 different 3-way scenarios.
This is from last year. Hold on. Here's an article from last year. Okay. Let's see. Last year, it was down to 3 teams. And remember,
that's when
year,
Johnson C got eliminated.
Yeah, because Virginia State, because Johnson C. Smith lost.
But what were did they list the scenarios beforehand?
Yeah. Last year, if Virginia Union and Johnson C. lost,
which is what happened,
which did happen, right? Virginia State would advance because at the time both teams were 6-1 and they would be co-champions. And I think that had to do with head-to-head a year ago.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why it's not. I don't see it publicly here. Let me see if I can do a quick. Do a quick search and see if it comes up real quick. It may not.
Okay,
here's something.
Okay.
I got it. We'll see if this is right, but this is this is actually from an HBCU Game Day article previously. So the CIAA tiebreaker policy. Okay, rules for a multi-team tie starts with conference winning percentage.
That'll be
the initial tiebreakers based on winning percentage within the conference schedule,
which would be the same.
Head-to-head competition is number 2.
Which would not happen in a Union Johnson C. Fayetteville scenario, but it would have happened in a Johnson C. Fayetteville and Virginia State scenario, which would give Johnson C. that tiebreaker.
Point differential against common opponents.
Oh, that's
if
why
head-to-head doesn't apply because not all teams played each other. The tie is broken by point differential against common conference opponents.
So that's when so we're gonna have to do the math and get that report on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Tuesday. That's probably where we're gonna go, Brian.
Yeah.
So now if we're tied after that, what's the next one? Does it say?
The tie is narrowed to 2, so I think what they try to do is they try to narrow it to 2 teams after the multi-team tiebreaker. The process resets between just those 2 teams.
But the problem is, Brian, those other 2 do not apply in a 3-team scenario at 6-1. The first 2 will not apply. even in a 2-team, because Union, Johnson C, and Fayetteville did not play each other.
All right. Well, I know last year, right about this same time, HBCU Game Day dropped an article because the CIA released their game tiebreaker scenario. So I got to imagine that they sometime this week, Monday or Tuesday, will drop a similar release on the scenarios in full with who can do what based on what outcome, because that's how they did it last year. They basically said, if this team wins and that team loses, this is what it'll be. If that team loses and that team loses, this is what it'll be. So, with 4 teams, they kind of set it up going into this weekend, because they did put out there that there were 4 teams in the hunt, the 4 teams you mentioned. So Virginia State is still in it. And hey, just like Emmett Jones said, Virginia Union versus Virginia State, big game right off the bat. I mean, that is going to be the first domino to fall, because it's either going to put Union in or it keeps Virginia State in the hunt.
Yeah.
Right. The times on these games this upcoming week.
I think they're all 1 o'clock
Johnson's
games.
Now here's the thing. I think what's fascinating about this, Fayetteville State plays Winston-Salem State, right? Who they had a bye week. They lost. Look, their season may be over. They got blown out by Johnson C. Smith. The question is, do they have any fight within them to want to ruin Fayetteville State's senior day? Right? It's at 1 o'clock. All these games are at 1 o'clock. So the good thing is nobody can scoreboard watch. You got to play it all out. Okay. I think the interesting game, again, just like it was last year, Livingstone versus Johnson C. Smith. And remember, this is the game. I mean, it's the commemorative cup. It's the oldest rivalry or oldest game in HBCU football. Livingstone has all of a sudden, right. Livingstone has finally gotten good, competitive. It's been chippy. If I'm not mistaken, it was 2 years ago when this game was chippy, and they canceled it, right? So, and then you got Livingstone ending Johnson C's last year. So Johnson C is like, you should really want this game. I mean, you should be amped up, knowing that you control your own destiny if you can win. Maybe you don't. I don't know, but it feels like you could.
They do control their own destiny.
Well,
a win by Johnson C would put them in, because no matter what Fayetteville do, is they have the tiebreaker.
They got the tiebreaker with Fayetteville. Okay,
right.
Okay, you're right.
And no matter what Union would do, they would still be in, because even if they're tied with Union and Union would lose, those would be your 2 teams.
Yes,
that would be tied.
Okay,
which puts them in. You don't care if you're number 1 or you're number 2. You just want to get in, because there is no home field advantage in the CIAA.
The only way Virginia State has a shot is they have to beat Union. What? They have to beat Union. No?
Yeah, they have to beat Union, but they don't have
can't
a
afford.
shot.
Yeah, they can't. No, but but wait a minute. What if Johnson C. Smith and Fayetteville State lose? That means you have 3 teams with 2 losses.
Right, but Johnson C has beaten both of those teams. So they have the head-to-head against the 3-team triangle.
Okay, so then technically, so then so it's a 3-team race then.
It's a 3-team race now. It's down to 3.
Okay. How many teams can get into Super Regional 1 now that the CIAA is in the Eastern Division? What were the rankings? What did the rankings say?
Union and Johnson C were in. Fayetteville was, I believe, they were not in the original top 10. I think Virginia State was actually in the original top 10. I just had it pulled up. Let me see. No, it's just Union and Johnson C. Yeah, Fayetteville is in. I'm sorry. Right now they were in the original top 10. The new rankings will come out tomorrow. So you've got 3 CIAA teams that we're keeping an eye on: Fayetteville, Johnson C, and Virginia Union. Obviously, there's going to be some movement with Fayetteville losing. And also in Super Region 2, you had Benedict, Everwaters, Kentucky State, and Albany State. Obviously, we're going to see some movement with Everwaters having lost.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, Brian, I think it's time to see where some of these teams rank on the Black College Sports Network and within the computers.
Good tease. Let's take a break. Come back with the BCSN top 5 rankings. This is week number 3? Where's it 4?
Something like that.
4.
And we got something
it's 4. Week number 4. Thank you.
And we got something for the nerds also.
Uh-oh, nerd alert.
Nerd
All
alert.
Right, there we go. Coming back right on the other side of this short break, the BCSN top 5, the 4th ranking here after week number 10. Be interesting to see what the computers think. We'll be back right after these messages right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan Fulford, A.D. Drew, back with you. Good to be back. Appreciate everybody, all of your thoughts, comments. Hit the thumbs up and the like button as you're watching the show. As always, if you would, do us a favor. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and the like button. But more importantly, go check out the BCSN Pod Zone. All of the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Network. The Carlos Brown Show, if you missed him on Saturday. The Sunday morning recap, football recap with Dr. Cavill and the guys. Make sure to check that out Also, we've got some coaches shows that we're starting to put on the Pod Zone. We've been running all season the Cedric Thomas show, part of the Brave Talk with Charles Edmond, the Alcorn State head coach, and most recently, the Larry Dixon show, the head coach of Morehouse College. So we got a couple of episodes there if you want to hear about Morehouse. And so if you're interested, anybody who's out there, if you're any SIDs or if you're looking to maybe add some shows to our network, we'd love to talk. Hit us up at info@myjbn.com, or you can reach me or Drew on social media, or my BCSN1 on Twitter.
And if you're in the business, you know how to reach me.
There it is. Holla at you, boy.
Holla at you, boy.
Okay. All right. Let's get ready to get into the first. I was kind of looking at something here. Okay.
Let's start off with our new stat, Brian.
All right. We got a new stat. This is some new info that Drew has been kind of sharing and dropping in a few different places. But what do we got, Drew?
Brian, there's a number, especially if you're an NFL fan, you got your quarterback rating. Do you know what goes in the quarterback rating, Brian?
No clue.
But you know what? But a perfect rating is a 158.3 or whatever it is, 158.6, something like that.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No one knows what goes into it, but it's a good metric to measure how good your quarterback is. Correct?
Yeah. It says, usually it affiliates with a good performance, a good game. Yeah. It's a measuring stick, no doubt.
Right. And we've got a similar number at the NCAA level to measure our quarterback efficiency, right? So, Brian, what we have done with the BCSN is put a couple of numbers together, and now we have come up with a team efficiency rate. What does that mean? And I'll try to get this as simple as I can. When playing football, for every 100 yards that you travel through the air, whatever, on the ground, you should score a touchdown. Why, Brian? Because 100 yards is the length of the field, correct?
Correct.
And on defense, for every 100 yards that your opponents travel, they should score a touchdown.
Okay.
So, in other words, 0 is your mean. If you score one touchdown for every 100 yards and your defense gives up one touchdown per 100 yards, that's going to be a net 0, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, Brian, we're going to start with our Division II teams. Here are your top 15 efficient teams based on their scoring output and their yardage efficiency.
Okay.
What does this mean? Kentucky State. They're outscoring their opponents by 16 points a game per 100 yards.
Per 100 yards. Key point yards. There. Per 100 yards. Okay.
Per 100 yards.
All right.
Albany State is number 2. Virginia Union is number 3. And you go on down the line, 4, 5, 6. What do these top 7 teams have in common, Brian?
They all in regional ranking consideration.
Bingo.
Okay, that was a good guess.
I wouldn't say a regional ranking consideration, but I would say top teams in their respective conference. They're in anybody's poll.
Gotcha.
And why are they as good as they are? Because they're efficient at what they do, Brian.
Okay.
Now, you get to number 8, 9, and 10.
Mm-hmm.
What does that kind of give you an indication of, Brian?
Coin toss games, meaning What? You're within a touchdown, or you're plus minus? I mean, I don't know.
Brian, you
Thinking too hard.
yes, you're thinking too hard. I'm gonna just
Okay.
report. These teams are underperforming.
Well, why are they underperforming? Why do you say that? What is the Mendoza line? What is the line that says you are underperforming? What's the number?
Your record compared to how good your team should be. What these teams have, Brian, these are teams that are good on one side of the ball or the other, but not on both.
Interesting to see Benedict there at number 7.
Yeah. Their defense.
Right. Okay.
But these teams are good on one side of the ball or not other. That means one side of the ball is seriously lacking. And you can go on down the line and see the different teams. Let's move over to go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say, so positive number, because obviously this is only 15 teams. There's some teams that are on the negative side of this.
Correct.
Okay, so positive number means that you are, like, for example, West Virginia State or Morehouse. What is Morehouse record?
They are 3-5 right now.
3-5. So that means you are.
And in a Morehouse case, in the games they've won, they have been good. In the games they have lost, they have been bad.
Okay.
So it's just a measuring stick, everybody. It's not the Bible. It's just a good measuring stick on how efficient your team is.
Okay.
Now let's move over to the Division I level. This is where it's really going to get fun. Number 1 in most people's polls right now, Alabama State.
Yeah.
Delaware State, one of the top teams in the MEAC. Jackson State. Texas Southern until last week. Here's your aberration, Alcorn.
Well, you know what? It goes to what Alcorn State people have told me, which is that when you look at their losses, they have lost. They lost a game by a field goal to who was it? Prairie View. They've also, when they lost that game at the beginning of the season to Northwestern State.
Yes.
So I mean, they've probably had more turnovers and odd ways of losing games than, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I think the surprise is Prairie View.
I was going to say Central.
That too.
So what does that negative 0.12 say then about Prairie View? That offensively they really
it's offense and defense. That means one side of the ball or the other is not as strong as it needs to be. Either you're not scoring at the rate you should be scoring, or you're giving up a few more points than you should be giving up.
Okay.
Look at number 15, Brian.
That's like, whoa.
That's an outlier.
Is it really?
Yes.
So how are they winning ball games? They're 6-3, 2-0 in conference play. How is South Carolina State winning ball games?
Once again, that's a classic case of when they're good, and when they're bad, they're bad.
I mean, they've only been bad 3 times.
Yeah. But what was the score in some of those bad games? What was their output in those games?
Okay. That's a good point. I guess we'll have to go look at that.
So, and then yes, you do have to take it to the fact that some of these teams have played a Lincoln of California, a Virginia Union Lynchburg, and things like that. Some of these teams on here, everybody on here has played at FCS at some point in time. So
you are including those games.
Yes,
those
entire season
are included. So every game is included.
Yes, entire season. Now, if we took this out and we did this FCS competition, these numbers probably would significantly change.
Do you think we should? Or is it too
Possibly.
early to tell in the numbers?
It's too early to tell. This, like I said, this is a new metric that we've come up with, and we're just experimenting with. Just giving you something else to consider as you are looking at things. But I will say this, Brian. I looked at those numbers. We ran them last week against last week's games, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And here you go, Brian. Let me pull this out.
Yeah, I was going to say
of the 20 games, and these are HBCU on HBCU games because I only have this metric for HBCU teams. So if they played a non-HBCU, we cannot evaluate it. There were 20 matchups HBCU on HBCU. Based on those numbers, 17 of the 20 games, we were predicted the winners.
So 17-3, and that's Division I and Division II.
And Division
17-3.
Yes.
Okay. So this is straight up, no point spread, just straight up wins and losses.
Right. If you use that number to determine point spread, Brian, and you took the over, 13 of those 17 games, you would have hit the over. That you won
13-4 to the over
of those games that you won, or 13 out of 20 overall.
Okay, so let's use 13 out of 20 overall. Let's see, 13 out of 20. That's 65%.
I could
65%. Hey, that's winning. That's a winning number there.
And Brian, let's just keep it to the FCS level. 8 out of 9 games played on the FCS level were predicted by that metric and were winners.
Wait a minute, say that again.
8 of the 9 games played on the FCS level, that metric predicted the winner correctly.
Wow. Okay, so
the team that had the better efficiency based on that metric won 8 of the 9 games.
65% overall, 13 of 20 to the over.
No. 85% overall, 65% to the over. 17 out of 20.
Oh, I got you. 85. Okay, thank you. 85% overall, 65% to the over, and 8 out of 9 in the FCS level.
Yes.
Wow. That's 89% for those of you who are like, oh, what's the math on that? Yeah, that's impressive, Drew. All right. So we got something to feast on as we get ready to go into this weekend. We're gonna play some of these numbers and report back to you next Sunday. And if I'm wearing a new necklace or a new hat or a new polo, you understand why.
Yeah. So we may, I can't give these numbers out like that, Brian, especially with what I do for a living, but I could gladly share with Brian, and Brian can put those out.
I will share with the public how good these numbers taste.
Yes.
We'll let you guys
and everybody, for entertainment purposes only.
Sure.
And this is, of course, and everybody, this is still in the beta stage.
That part right there, sometimes you gotta be careful with the beta testing. Don't get too excited because who knows, so we'll play it by ear and see what happens this upcoming week.
Yeah, and just so you know, I've kind of been tracking this for about 3 weeks since I started this, and there have been more positive than negative with this number.
All right. I like it.
So, Brian, now here's the one that everybody knows about, Brian.
Yeah.
What did the computer say? Who is sitting where? And we're just gonna do the big reveal because of time, everybody. Let me know.
Exactly. Yep. All right. So this is the under D1 rankings, top 5 computer rankings, 4th week of the BCSN top 5. You see in the hunt basically would be 6 through 10. Edward Waters, Fort Valley State, Savannah State, Fayetteville State, and Virginia State would be in the hunt. For the 4th consecutive week, I think we got a new number 1. Johnson C. Smith is fifth at 604.8. Benedict is still in the top 5 at 4, 697. Kentucky State, 765 is number 3. Albany State is number 2 at 805.2, and Virginia Union, 822. And again, 4th consecutive week of a new number 1, because last week I believe it was Albany State who was number 1. And
Benedict was prior to them, I believe.
Yeah, and Virginia Union was number 1 when we first opened.
Yes.
So back to number 1 goes Virginia Union. Interesting. I don't see how we shift. You know, what's interesting is looking at how close Edward Waters and Johnson C. Smith is, even despite Edward Waters' loss the other day. I mean, we're talking 0.2, 0.2 of a point.
Yeah. I think what's more interesting to me, Brian, is that Savannah State came out ahead of Fayetteville State by a couple of points with that loss.
Yeah. Yeah, the computer didn't have Florida Memorial in the hunt. No. Although Florida Memorial did get a good win over the weekend.
And I think Florida Memorial is the next team on that list if we would have expanded it out one more, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so number 11.
Yes.
But look, it's not a big margin. I mean, between schools 6 through, well, really technically from 5 to 10. I mean, we're not talking a heavy margin. I mean,
Yeah.
So
something that could be overcame.
Yeah, final week of the regular season coming up in the Division II level for most of them, because obviously the CIAA and SIAC play championship games on week 11. So most schools play 10-game seasons. All right, let's go to the upper level. Division I. BCSN Top 5 Computer Rankings, week number 4. 4th week.
Time out.
Uh-oh.
Emmett.
How does Virginia Union get the top spot, losing to Edward Waters?
SOS. And that's not same old stuff. That is strength of schedule goes a long way.
Not a Gap Band song either.
And Union has been good in their wins, and so has Albany State. But that's the big factor. And if I can, and I've got to find if I find the spreadsheet, Brian, I can actually give you the. Give me a second. I'll give you the strength of schedule, because I am almost certain that is the one factor that has played into
why Albany State is behind Virginia Union.
Yes. Let's see. And we measure strength of schedule on 2 different metrics. And one metric, Virginia Union's strength of schedule rated out to be 28.43. Albany State's strength of schedule, albeit close, was 28.20. And in another metric, well, I guess it kind of balanced itself out. So there are a couple other factors that went into it, because Albany State's in this metric is 30.56. Virginia Union is 25.92. So like I say, but that's just one of multiple factors that go into this, Brian. The one thing that helps is Virginia Union's rating in some of the metrics we use, such as the Massey scale, is higher than Albany State's.
Hey, Emmett said this, Drew, like there's that much of a difference between FAMU and Norfolk State right now. I'm just, come on, Emmett. I love you to death. I'm glad you said it. But I don't know if there's much of a difference between Norfolk State and FAMU right now, to be honest.
It's one win.
One win. If you look at the margin in the losses, though, I got a feeling FAMU might have a worse margin of defeat.
Yeah. Right. Blue Jacket. That while their strength of schedule in D2 may be that their rankings in any D2 metric, Virginia Union is ranked higher than Albany State. And those metrics go into this computer ranking.
And don't forget, Virginia Union has the conference, non-conference game that they played against, Johnson C?
Yes.
So that's that's like a little asterisk bonus plus of playing another tough team in conference that Albany State doesn't have, probably.
Right.
All right,
and hold on, let's put this back up here for a second. Of that 10 on the screen, Virginia Union, they've got one victory with another opponent to play, because they have beaten Johnson C. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Albany State also one victory against one of those top 10 teams. So it balances itself out. But look how close that is, Brian.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're splitting hairs between Virginia Union and Albany State, really.
So let's move on. Let's get to the Division One.
All right. Division One, top 5. In the hunt, Texas Southern, who I think dropped out because I think Texas Southern was as high as 3.
They did.
Last week.
3 or 4.
Yeah, Grambling State, 436.9. Number 5 is Prairie View A&M, who I believe moved into the top 5 despite the loss to Alabama State.
Yes.
485.5. North Carolina Central, 509.3. Delaware State, I think they hold strong at number 3, 527. Clear separation
I think those two flip-flopped, if I remember correctly.
Who, Central and Delaware?
Delaware, yes.
It's possible.
Yes.
The separation, though, between 1 and 2. Well, the separation from 1 and 2 to number 3 is significant. And look at the gap between 1 and 2. Jackson State, Alabama State. It's 6 points, less than 6 points, 5.9. And, it's kind of interesting. It's about the difference in the score. The difference in the score between the two teams when they played. It was 4 points, right?
Yes.
And here it is, 5.9. So, again, this will probably hold tight. I mean, again, we got to see how Jackson State and Alabama State play out. Delaware State's already beaten North Carolina Central. What's surprising on this top 5 is I don't see South Carolina State. Your efficiency numbers. And then I look at this, and I can't wait to see. A lot of people are holding out hope, thinking that South Carolina State is going to be the team that could ruin Delaware State's run and potential run. I don't really know. I don't think they will.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Bethune-Cookman ranked higher than South Carolina State did by the computer.
Ooh, that's another team I'm curious to see how soon they could end up in the top 5.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, there's your BCSN top 5 computer rankings.
Two different metrics, Emmett. 2 different metrics.
Exactly. Efficiency, completely different than the top 5 rankings. The top 5 rankings are,
10 different metrics that are put in to create this number. The efficiency is just a beta tested metric that we are using.
Good stuff, Drew. We'll maybe we put this out into the. You feel comfortable putting this out into the universe yet, or are we still kind of beta testing and waiting?
On the efficiency,
like in socials, the efficiency. We want to wait another week.
We gonna wait another week. Let's see the number. Cool. Let's see if we can hit another 65% again.
I'm hopeful. Yeah, we hit it. We may put it behind a paywall. Subscribers only. Subscribers only get the efficiency numbers. You know, we'll see what happens. All right. Well, let's get ready to put a bow on this. Look, I got to get ready. There's an early day of basketball tomorrow, man. I got a lot of basketball to watch. Again, those of you go check out Liv for Hoops. Hit her up. Let her know you appreciate her coming on the show. If you missed any part of Liv's interview, go back into hour one, bottom of hour one. Check it out. I'm going to go and clip it here shortly tonight, so put it up. So in case anybody missed it. But I always want to remind you, go check out the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere that you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, the Apple Play Store, it's Apple Podcast, all those places that you listen to podcasts, that's where you can find the BCSN Sports Wrap. That's going to do it. Thanks for a great show. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would. Thanks again, anybody who, all the folks who jumped in and watched on Instagram Live. Appreciate all you guys joining in. And, of course, everybody on Twitter. Good job. Have a great week, everybody. Congrats to the teams who won. And make sure to follow all of the shows on the Black College Sports Network as we have a loaded week. And I'm sure you'll hear plenty of good opinions, whether it be school-related or just HBCU in general. All right. For A.D. Drew, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thanks for watching. Good night. And God bless everybody.
Travel light, everybody. We'll holler.